Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be a little bit different because I wanted to talk about Gigantamax Gengar battles. And I know this video is extremely overdue. I meant to get this out on the day that we went and did the battles. However, when I got back home that day, I was extremely exhausted. We went through a lot to get only 2 done, and I'm going to get into that in a second. But I was really tired when I got back home, and then the next day GBL weekend started and I wanted to focus on content for that, so this video just kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed, and now I am finally making it. I have to get it out before community day, otherwise the video is just going to get procrastinated even more. So even though this topic has become a little bit irrelevant, I wanted to get this video out either way because I felt like it would be important to get a point of view from a very tiny community, because for those of you who don't know, I live in Oman and I live in the capital of Oman, Muscat, and we have a very small Pokemon Go community here. Our community fluctuates a lot because we have a lot of expats and a lot of expats leave the country, so we don't always have a lot of community members available all the time. However, we do have a small community and we coordinate it a lot to get these Gigantamax Gengar battles done. And in the end, we got 2 done, okay? And it took us 2 hours. It took us 2 hours to get 2 battles done. To be fair, after we got the first one done, the second one was a lot easier. But oh my gosh, I have a lot to say about these battles. First of all, I'm gonna start with one note I want to make, because I know a lot of people are gonna watch this and they don't have communities to raid with, or maybe they don't even have like 2 other people or 3 other people to make a group of 4. So really quickly, before I get into our experience, I want to say that this system is really unfair to rural players. I totally get that. And we even have some rural players in Oman that weren't able to join us. Some lived all the way across the country. If you look at Oman on a map, it's like a really wide rectangle. And the people living in the westmost city of Oman obviously cannot join us. They need an airplane to get to Muscat, which is the capital, and it's really unfortunate and unfair for them. So obviously we had a lot of people who couldn't join us. We had some people who had work on the day, and the people who live in that westmost city, we do have some Pokemon Go players there because they are part of our WhatsApp group. They are not able to join us and they don't have enough players to attempt these. So yeah, this system heavily favors people who live in big cities, and if you don't, then it's really unfortunate for you. And I wanted to get that out of the way because I didn't want to come across as tone deaf. I am extremely grateful to the people who joined us and made it possible for us to do a couple of battles. But that being said, I have a story to tell you guys. So my local community was planning to do the Gigantamax battles that came before this, so the Charizard, Blastoise, and Venusaur. We were planning for that. And then on the day, we saw a bunch of tweets of communities, large communities, going with groups of 30 and 40 players not being able to defeat these. And we're going into this just as clueless as everyone else. So on the day, we just decided to cancel it. On that day, I think we would have had around 12 to 15 accounts. We really didn't think we would need more, but we definitely were underpowered. We would not have been able to do them, and I still think that even after doing these Gigantamax Gengars, I'm pretty sure we wouldn't have done any of them successfully, because even the Gigantamax Gengar, the first one that we attempted, took us several attempts and we failed it several times. And it wasn't just because our strategy was off. A lot of it was because of glitches. A lot of our players kept getting kicked out and we had to re-lobby several times to finally get a lobby where no one was kicked. Actually, in the video going on right now, You will see how many times we end up re-queuing for this battle. This was the second one that we attempted. I did not record the first one because I was so caught up in everything that was happening. We attempted it so many times and I had just wanted to get it done successfully. So I wasn't paying attention to anything. I didn't use a star piece. I didn't record anything. And we were really getting fed up because of how many times we reattempted it. We don't reattempt the second one as much, but the first one, oh my goodness, we had people who wanted to leave and give up. But that's not where our problem started. Our problem started earlier in the day. You see, we had been planning for these battles for about a week, and we planned to meet up in one of the largest malls in the country, which is Mall of Oman, and it has one of the best places to play Pokemon Go. It has 4 power spots, 3 to 4 power spots. It can have up to 4 at one time. And we decided to go there. That's usually where we meet up for Community Day, and if there's a Go Fest, we'll go there because we don't go to a lot of parks. It's really hot here. Our phones will overheat if we go outside. But that is where we had initially planned to do these Gigantamax battles. Well, the day comes, we decided to do them on a Friday because where I live, Friday is a weekend and it is the best day for everyone to be available. But anyways, we plan to do them on a Friday. On the day of, I check Campfire to see if there are any Gigantamax Gengar battles there. There are none. Okay, that's not good. There's all our plans out of the window. And I just want to point out really quickly, we had no idea that on Saturday and Sunday, these battles were going to spawn every hour. If we knew, we could have just organized for Saturday and gone to the big mall. But we had been planning for a week. We were going to go on Friday, and everyone already made plans to meet up on Friday, so we can't really change the plans. But we have to change the location because we were not getting any Gigantamax Gengars at the mall we wanted to go to. So I checked the other mall, the one we used to play Community Day at before this bigger one opened. Well, same situation, nothing there. Now the park is our last resort. We don't want to go play there because where we live, it's very hot outside and we would be standing outside in the heat trying to attempt these battles and our phones would overheat. But I checked there anyways, and it's the same situation. There isn't a single Gigantamax Gengar there. So we're running out of options, and then someone from our community finds a place that has 2 that are pretty close to each other. But this place is what I can only describe as an abandoned mall. Okay, maybe it's a little bit unfair of me to call this mall abandoned, but let me give you guys a little bit of history on this mall. It opened in 2015, but unfortunately during the pandemic, it took a pretty big hit and most of its stores ended up closing. Almost all of its stores actually ended up closing down and going out of business. Also, the concept of the mall didn't really work out for its targeted demographic. It was meant to be this place with a bunch of higher end brands, but most of the people here like to support local brands or will shop at more affordable places. So it didn't work out, and I can see why it didn't work out. And it's such a shame because the mall is really pretty. And I can see that they're trying to make an attempt to reopen some of the shops in the mall. I mean, the supermarket reopened recently, and where we met up as a Pokemon Go community was in the food court, and I was super surprised to see that most of the restaurants in the food court were open, and they had a really wide selection of cuisines. There were some rare cuisines for Oman, like Korean, there was Japanese, there was Thai. So I was really surprised with the food court. I might have to go back there to try the Korean kiosk out. But yeah, the food court was pretty filled with life, especially when we went there because there was a lot of us there. So we filled up a bunch of tables and you could really feel the mall sort of come back to life because we met up there. And that's one of the beauties, I guess, of Pokemon Go, because you end up going places to meet up and you get this sort of sense of community and there's a lot of people around you. And like I said, it kind of brought a little bit of life back into this sort of abandoned mall. But you see, now the funny thing is, I dragged my family on this trip, and they were promised a trip to the big mall, the new one that just recently opened. And when my plans ended up changing, I told them, I promise you guys, I just need 15 minutes to complete this this battle, because I thought it would be like a raid and we can get it done in like 5 minutes. But oh my goodness, was I wrong. And when I say I brought my family, I mean I brought my parents and my grandmother. They want nothing to do with this game. But I brought my iPad with me as well because I have my mom's account / my alt account. I play on it more. But I gave her the iPad and I taught her everything to do. I told her when to dodge. I told her which buttons to press. And God bless her soul, she was helping me and she was putting up with all of these glitches that we were going through and re-queuing with us. And my family was being very patient. I am so grateful for them for waiting this out. And also, they said yes somehow when the community wanted to do the second one. Because we saw how poorly the first one went. And we did end up doing the second one with less attempts, less reattempts. But still, that first one took everything out of us. So what ended up happening for the first one was we were sitting in the food court. We were able to coordinate for the first one. And every time we would go in, someone would say, I got kicked. So we back out. Re-queue, someone got kicked. Back out. Re-queue, someone got kicked. Back out. That kept happening for an hour and a half. And my dad was getting a little bit restless next to me. He was like, oh my gosh, how many times do we have to do this? And he was thinking that we were failing the raid, but no, it was actually just a glitch from Niantic where some of the, I think it was the Android phones that had this issue mostly, because I didn't get this issue on any of the devices I had. So I have an iPhone, I have a Samsung phone also with my brother's account on it, and then I have the iPad that my mom is tapping on. And we didn't get that issue. We didn't get kicked, thank goodness. But everyone else kept getting kicked. And also, the first few times we tried it out, we didn't really have that much coordination. I really needed, what I found out in the end was I really needed my accounts on the same team, because I had a strategy where I had one account that was a healer, one would be using max guard, and then the other one, which my mom was using, is just for damage, because I wanted her to do the simplest thing, which was just tap the button in the middle. And she was running 3 Gengars. I was running 2 almost maxed Gengars and a almost maxed Charizard, but the Charizard had all of the max moves at level 3. And my brother's account was running a Metagross, a Charizard, also a Hundo, by the way. We both have a Hundo Charizard, which is kind of crazy, and a Gengar. So that's what we were running. And I had synergy between my accounts whenever they were placed on the same team, but when they were placed on separate teams, then some of that synergy was lost. It was a little bit difficult to coordinate with some of the other players because some of them just came to run whatever they had. Some were running unevolved Pokemon and were just there to cheer. I'm still grateful they showed up. I'm sure the cheering helped a lot. But I did need my accounts on the same team. That way I had, I had a rhythm going. I had max guard, and then I would heal with one account. I would do damage with the other one, or my mom would do damage with hers. And that max guard and the healing actually worked really well because I was looking over to the iPad that my mom was using, and her Gengars, which I was expecting to die really quickly, were still alive almost to the end of the battle. So do not underestimate Max Guard and do not underestimate Max Spirit. I think that's what the healing one is called. And then eventually, after an hour and a half of frustration and re-queuing, we finally got it done. And I got an 11-11-11 Gengar. It was so bad. For an hour and a half of work, it was such an underwhelming reward. But hey, we got the first one we needed. And there was another one that was nearby. However, we wouldn't be able to coordinate like in person. We would have to go and park in the parking lot and coordinate from our cars, which is the one you guys are seeing right now. And you see all of the messages popping out. Each person saying, I got kicked, re-queue. I got kicked, re-lobby, everyone back out. I got kicked. That's the one that you guys are seeing on the screen right now. But this one only took us 20 minutes to complete, but the only reason it took us less time to complete this one is because in the end, one of our members gave up his Gengar, and I felt so bad. We ended up completing it, and then afterwards he was like, guys, I felt really bad. I didn't want us to re-queue again. I got kicked, but I decided to take one for the team and just let you guys complete it. We were able to defeat it a lot faster than the first one as well because we had the Gigantamax Gengars that we could use ourselves to beat this one, so it was a lot easier. But I felt so bad at the end when I heard that one of our members got kicked and wasn't able to complete the second one with us after having been there for 2 hours going through all the glitches and re-queuing multiple times. That was such a letdown, and this particular member had invested a lot of Stardust to get Pokemon ready for this event, and they were involved in a lot of the coordination with the community. So Niantic, you gotta fix your game. Whatever this glitch is that kicks players out of Gigantamax battles, this needs to be fixed, okay? That's the #1 thing that needs to be fixed. You cannot have people coordinating and spending so much time only to get kicked out of lobbies over and over again, wasting time, and in the end, not being able to defeat these things. This just cannot happen. We need these things fixed, and we need these things to run smoothly. Otherwise, people are going to give up and not want to do these again. That's my take on Gengar Gigantamax battles. I hope you guys enjoyed this sort of story time and me rambling about battles for the past 16 minutes. Let me know what you guys think of this format of video, if you guys enjoyed it or not. And yeah, in the end, we ended up with 2 Gengars, 2 Gigantamax Gengars. They were pretty easy to catch. And I had no Stardust. I'll insert a picture here of my Stardust. It was pretty ridiculous. But that brings us to the end of my video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Maybe leave a like. It helps me out so much. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye.